Oh, and we are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sir Hunt's Reviews. My name's Mark, and we actually have a focused topic during this live stream, this pop-up live stream, I might add. Yeah, so we'll begin here in a little bit. See if we can't get like maybe 10 or 15 people joining us, and then we'll run it down. This is basically going to be a Reddit post from the freefolk subreddit. It's actually linked down below in the description. During my day of looking for new Game of Thrones interesting things to make videos on, I came across this, and I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do a live stream, because, there could be a lot to be discussed. So if that's the case, well, we'll do this. But basically, it has to do with the Night King and the White Walkers, and it's a theory based on that. The person only posted a few sentences, but in that few sentences, oh man, they shedded a whole bunch of light on shit. So yeah, once again, that's linked down below in the description. And if you would like to stay up on the latest spoiler news for Game of Thrones Season 8 filming, you can go check out winteriscoming.net and Watchers on the Wall. Those should also be linked down below in the description. I'm not sure if I linked those, but if not, go check them out. Let's see, who's in the chat right now? Sorry, I got to pull it up on my phone. OBS is not currently visible. It's kind of like a who has your notifications turned on pop quiz. So I'm assuming anyone that's watching right now has their notifications turned on. Oh shit, we got ads playing. Damn, there's 30 of you guys already. That's what's up. Hell yeah. All right, let's see. We got a super special shout out to Bubba Husky. He was the first one in here. Appreciate it, sir, with the notifications on time. Shout out to Ryan Williams. Shout out to Lila V. Shout out to Oscar Echevarria Rodriguez. Shout out to EAC88. Shout out to the drowned god of tits and wine. Shout out to Kevin Prater, Juliana Rocha, Aaron Irie Knight, Little Gringa78, Oliver Abbott, Stephanie Marshall, Miss QYO, and I think I got Amberlyn McKay. Shout out to Amberlyn McKay. Septa Shana Sapphires, what's up? B Loco, how's it going? I think I got Jesselyn Mendoza, Crimson Blood 334. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I didn't think this many people had their notifications turned on. That's what's up. Afton baby. Jade, Josephine Caesar, Helen L, Tina Huff. I think I got everyone. We can go ahead and start here. Kevin Calhoun. All right, so what we're gonna be doing is I've got, you guys know my setup during the live stream. I don't even gotta, really explain it too much. But here we go. We'll switch over to the transition screen. What you're looking at is reddit.com/freefolk. So yeah, that's linked down below in the description. Make sure you go check that out so you can look at the post for yourself. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So this post is from a user named Born West of the Mountains. And they say the Warlocks of Karth said their magic increased when the dragons were born. At that same time, the Night King and his army seemed to start their move toward the wall. Night King and his army are alive due to magic. Perhaps the dragons must all die in order to weaken the Night King so he can be destroyed. Well, first off, I want to say if this is true and all the dragons have to die in order for the Night King to die, I might want the Night King to live. You know what I mean? I'm House Targaryen all the way, but it makes a lot of sense. So before I start putting too much of my input on this, I'm going to talk about the Warlocks of Karth, and I'm going to talk about the Night King. Some of the comments down here are pretty funny. This was actually in the controversial section of the Reddit/freefolk. But yeah, they're like the golden source of memes. And, any kind of spoiler that Reddit/Song of Ice and Fire won't touch, you can find it here. Like all of the leaked script spoilers, everything, all that good stuff. If you don't mind being spoiled, go check out Reddit/freefolk. Once again, it's linked down below in the description. And also, if you're just joining us, if you want to know just like filming spoilers, go check out winteriscoming.net and Watchers on the Wall. They are always on point with the filming spoilers as well as cast interviews. All right, so let's start off with the Warlocks. Let's see. This information is coming from a Westeros of Ice and Fire, or a wiki of Ice and Fire.westeros.org. And this is about the Warlocks of Karth. Let's see. The Warlocks are magic practitioners of Essos. Their center of power is the House of the Undying, home to the Undying Ones of Karth. Warlocks are also said to be active in Ahai, where all religious and magical disciplines can be practiced with impunity, meaning you won't get in trouble for doing so. And also probably, you won't be looked at funny. We do know that people like the Dothraki, they're from Essos. They kind of look at like any kind of, well, I guess, with Miri Mazdir, that was blood magic, so that's probably why they were that way. But I feel like it's just like with medieval times, if you do something too crazy, you might be labeled a witch. So, all right. Their appearances, the Warlocks of Qarth are known to dress in long, beaded robes. They have white, pale skins and pale blue lips from drinking Shade of the Evening many times in pursuit of greater knowledge, sounding like our boy Euron. The Undying Ones' flesh is ripe violet blue. Their nails are so blue they are nearly black, and even the white of their eyes are blue. Now I'm going to pause right there. Does it sound like I'm describing a Warlock of Qarth or a fucking White Walker? Like, just, sorry, I guess, we're not going to be ad friendly on this one, but who does it sound like I'm describing? Exactly. All right, let's keep going. Though the legend speaks of the mighty power of the Warlocks, they have done little in the past century. Similar to the Alchemist Guild of the Seven Kingdoms, the Warlocks' power and prestige has waned over the years. Their mighty House of the Undying is long since a gray stone ruin, neither repaired nor expanded upon, often referred to as the Palace of Dust. Even so, the Warlocks are feared and respected throughout Essos, and few return from their ruin. In an effort to cure Samwell Tar... Okay, so this is going into... Hang on a second. Let me read ahead here. Alright, but yeah, let's go back to how much they look like fucking White Walkers. Like, I was actually in the process of making a video for it, and my brain was just lighting up so much. I was so scatterbrained. I'm like, if this would be easier to formulate it into live stream. Reason being because I might say some stuff, and then when I go back and edit my video, that might end up on the editing room floor, and I don't want to do that. I want to just get all my thoughts out there. So I'm not saying the Warlocks of Qarth are White Walkers, but this is like linking the two. So we know from season 2, when Daenerys goes to Qarth and she ends up getting tricked by the Warlocks of Qarth, and they end up sealing her dragon. She goes into the House of the Undying. Sorry, then they trick her, and she ends up getting trapped there until she, lays out that first Dracarys, and then the dragons burn them. But they did mention that their power was linked to the dragons. All right, so let's continue on here. Let's talk about the Night King for a bit. Let's see. Night King, also called the Night's King, is a legendary Lord Commander of the Night's Watch who lived during the Age of Heroes. According to legend, the Night's King lived during the Age of Heroes not long after the wall was complete. He was a fearless warrior named the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Later, he fell in love with a woman with skin as white as moon and eyes as blue as stars. He chased her, he loved her, though her skin was as cold as ice. And when he gave her his seed, he gave her his soul as well. There was this funny little picture down here that I kind of wanted to share. I saw this earlier. Yeah, it's just some fan art, I guess. I don't know. Pretty funny. Boobies. Kind of looks like Jon Snow and Dany, huh? Maybe a little bit. Daenerys not so much dead. How's everyone doing in the chat? Sorry if I'm like, if it kind of feels like I'm neglecting it. I'm not. I'm just, sharing this with you guys. But yeah, I will say, no, I'm not going to say that yet. Okay. This isn't going to be very long, by the way. This is maybe going to be like 30 minutes. I'm going to jump in the chat and get you guys' thoughts. I mean, that's pretty much it. So basically what this theory is pointing out is that the Night King seems to be going towards the source of it. I mean, I guess with him being south of the wall, he officially like broke the wall, and he said it. If somehow the Night King's power is related to the dragons being born, I don't think it's that it's the same kind of magic that fuels them. I think it's more of like they need each other to survive. So it's like ice magic and fire magic. It's a song of ice and fire. So if you can't have one without the other, which we've been saying this for a while. It's kind of like you need the other one to exist. So if the Night King is going to die, maybe the only way for that to happen is once all of Dany's dragons are dead, including Viserion. He's alive, sort of, but he would have to be killed again. Which, speaking of which, how do you guys think the Night King, the Night King's dragon will be taken out? Oh man, getting fucking sprained here. Maybe I should have made this a video. I don't know, man. Yeah, responding to what Little Gringa said, yeah, the White Walkers were around in Season 1. Mind you, they're just rumors in the books. There hasn't been an actual appearance of them. But the point of that is it's kind of like you see them, like you see a White Walker, but he's not really like actually doing shit. You know what I mean? He's not like marching towards the wall like they are now. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like their presence has definitely increased. It's almost like the bigger the dragons get, the more we saw the White Walkers, like the more shit we saw them do. And then once Daenerys had one of her major like victories using her dragons, we see the battle at Hardhome. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like their fates are parallel, and obviously it's just the show writing that way. You know, dragons are fire, then the White Walkers are ice, and that's, you know, ultimately what this story's about. Let's see. Start taking some questions here. Mario Rodriguez says, "Sir Herm, what's up? Patreon all day." I don't think you're a member of the Patreon. If you were, I'll make you a mod real quick. I'll check that in a second. If the White Walkers are old members of the Watch, they could eventually need to make Jon join them to continue whatever they are doing. Is that why they are coming after Jon? Who said the White Walkers are old members of the Night's Watch? That's their Craster's children. They're not members of the Night's Watch. What do you think about them forging new verse with wildfire added? New Valyrian steel with wildfire added? I think that would be uncontrollable. Like you can't really control like the power of the wildfire. It's like it does its own thing and it just burns everything. I definitely think that you can forge it with Dragonfire. We have 2 of those, and we have someone who could potentially be capable of forging Valyrian steel, that being Gendry. Terry Melendez says, was on Reddit reading the War King when I got your alert. Nice. Yeah, Reddit is like my source of data. I'll check it. Even if I'm not looking at Game of Thrones subreddits, I'll still check it every day because they always post, you know, something. It's like something interesting about the day. Before you hear about it on the news or something, you know, sometimes it'll be on Reddit first. It'll be trending on the popular page. Q&A, super off topic, but it's been really bothering me lately. That Bed didn't ask for a trial by combat. Ned didn't ask for a trial by combat. By any... I don't know. I never really thought about that. I honestly think it's like if he had done that, the person that would have... if he had survived, basically, if he had done that and he had won the trial by combat, then we wouldn't have this story. Because Ned had, you know, enough of a say-so at that point before Joffrey kind of, you know, before Cersei and Joffrey kind of forced him out. Ned would have had enough say-so to kind of correct everything, and then there wouldn't be, you know, these 5 novels. I think he would have died ultimately. Like, even if he had done the trial by combat, he still would have ended up dying, and it just would have been a way of, like, stretching it out almost. Q&A, finger in the bum? You're on. He goes, does she like a finger in the bum? The look on Jamie's face. Oh, man. I think the Night King and the White Walkers face a more dangerous foe from farther north and need Little Sam to help in the fight. Yo, that would be nuts. So basically the White Walkers and the Night King are running from something. Basically the Night King is just trying to get his people safe, like what Mance Rayder was doing with the Wildlings. That would be nuts. Although I honestly think that with their numbers and the amount of power and magic that dude has, I feel like he can take on, you know, anyone. Unless they were giant undead ice giants, but even then they're like under his control, so I don't know. Maybe it's getting super warm up north, or, you know, it's not cold enough for them. Maybe that's why they're going down south. reading up in the chat to see if I missed any questions. Jennifer Crutcher says, are they after Jon specifically? I don't think that's right. Yeah, no, I don't think they're after Jon. I don't think they're really after anyone. If they are after someone, it's baby Sam, just because he was promised to them by Craster and they ended up stealing that sacrifice. So maybe, you know, I've been saying this for a while now, but the Night King can't procreate naturally. So maybe the only way that he can, like, secure his lineage is through making White Walkers. And, like, maybe the oldest White Walker gets the crown after him, and he, like, transfers his soul and his essence, like the Night King of old, the 13th Lord Commander, did when he had sex with the White Woman. I mean the Pale Woman. Danny Jeter says, what's up, Hunts? What's up, man? Maybe the Blackfish or Benjen, but he was lost, so it would have to come down to Robb to Jon to volunteer to be his champion. I think he could have gotten... Yeah, I don't know. That's a good... Who would have been Ned's champion had he had requested a trial by combat? I don't even know. I didn't really think about that. Like, when I first watched the show, I used to think about what if Ned didn't die and all the different ways that, you know, he could have been saved. But that was more so, like, before that, I was thinking about, like, what, like, somehow we were tricked into seeing that. Like, it didn't actually happen. You know what I mean? I had to go back and rewatch it. And then I kept waiting for someone to show up and save him at the last second. But, yeah, I haven't really thought about that since I, like, first started watching the show. I don't even know. Who would be Ned Stark's champion? Littlefinger! No, I'm just kidding. Maybe an undead Robbie B. Robert Baratheon gets raised from the dead and he comes back and champions for Ned. The gods, I was strong then! Wilson, what's up, man? I think I met you at Con of Thrones. If I'm not mistaken, you saw one of my panels. You were at one of my panels, and we ran into each other. How's it going, bro? He could have fought for himself. I don't know about that, Bubba. Main reason being is because he was, like, in the black cells for, like, what could have been several days without, like, food and water. And then he was also fucked up by Jaime's men. Remember, they pierced his leg with that spear. So he probably, honestly, would have been walking with a cane for the rest of his life. Yeah, he was older anyway. Why did the Night King kill Viserion instead of Drogon? This is, like, one of the most popular questions from Season 7. Drogon was on the ground, whereas Viserion was in the sky. I was so confused at that scene. Honestly, I think it just has more to do with, like, who was closer to him. The way the camera was set up made it look like Drogon was closer to him, and on the ground, too. But there was also shit moving around Drogon. Like, Drogon had people in front of him, I guess, you know. And also, he was a lot bigger, so maybe he thought that Drogon's armor, you know, wouldn't be as easy to pierce as Viserion's would be. So he's like, let me go for this sure shot, this dragon who's up here. Doesn't have a rider on him, so he's not really being controlled by a pilot. He's just kind of doing his own thing, and he's smaller than that dragon, so his armor's thinner. I think it, you know, more so has to do something with, like, that. And also, just the writing, like, it looks more badass to have a dragon fall from the sky, hit the ice, and then sink to the bottom of the lake. Whereas if he had hit Drogon would have just rolled over. You know what I mean? And then they would have potentially killed Daenerys and everybody else that was over there. And they can't do that, you know, it's Season 7. They'll do shit like that in Season 8. So I think it's more of, like, you know, those two things. Mainly that it looks more badass to have a dragon falling from the sky. And you couldn't risk, like, throwing a spear. And also, he could have thought that maybe Drogon would have melted his spear. Because it is ice. You know, Drogon could have let out flame and maybe it would have melted it, like, repelled his magic. And we do know that Viserion was more like a sure shot. What do you think will end up happening to Bran at the end of the story? Do you think he and Sam will be writing the book at the end? If magic survives, then I think Bran will survive to continue, like continue on doing what Bloodraven was doing, which was staying north of the wall, keeping track on movements of if there are any future White Walkers. I don't think there'll be a need to, but I think they'll continue with traditions of old. Maybe not with who sits the Iron Throne. Maybe that'll be more of like a democratic process. But, you know, having Night's Watchmen at the wall and then having Bloodraven north of the wall, like keeping an eye on shit, I could see that happening. I don't necessarily think that Bran will survive, though. I think Bran has to restrain the Night King in the metaphysical realm, in the Weirwood net, and then Jon Snow and Daenerys have to attack him from, like, the actual world. So I think Bran may end up sacrificing himself in doing so. I definitely do think that Sam is going to be at the end telling the story to baby Sam and maybe even Jon Snow and Daenerys' children if they both die, and Sam's the one left to raise them. That was kind of confirmed. Bran pretty much said, you know, you'll make it out of here like at the end of season 7. We played epic game of Find the Phone. Yeah, I remember that. Shout out to Wilson. Bubba Husky said the real question is who would have helped Ned and faced him in a trial of 7. Shit, if they had had a trial by 7, that's where it's like 7-on-7 fighting each other. That would be hard fucking core. There haven't been one of those in a while. Damn, let's think about that. It would obviously, at that point, Benjen had just left for the wall, and maybe he hadn't have had that altercation where he almost died and then got turned into, like, you know, cold hands. Maybe he would have been close enough where they could have sent word for him, then we could have had Benjen. So if we're living in this hypothetical world, Benjen didn't take Jon to the wall yet. He was still at Winterfell. They got delayed in leaving, and then he heard that Ned was having a trial by 7 combat down in King's Landing, so he goes down there, takes Jon with him. Rob's old enough to fight, so you got Rob, Jon Snow, and Benjen. That's 3 right there. And just for shits and giggles, how about Brandon Rickon? No, I'm just kidding. You could have modern day Arya. If it's in Land of Make Believe, let's do it. Fuck it. We'll have modern day Arya, so that's like badass, trained 7 different ways Arya. Speaking of which, I have a video that it's just like a 30-minute rant on all the people talking shit about how they don't think Arya should be as strong as she is and how she's fucking OP and how it doesn't make sense that she can take down all these people, but then last season she had trouble fighting the wave. It's like, look, just because you don't see it on camera doesn't mean it's not happening. Arya has been training in multiple different fighting styles since season 1. She learned water dancing from Syrio Forel. She then learned Westerosi sword fighting from Sandor. He didn't exactly teach her, but come on, she's watching him, and she's been traveling around with him, and she kept up on her water dancing training the entire time. Then she goes to the Faceless Men and learns, you know, assassin training, and also how to take an ass whooping, which is almost as important as how to give an ass whooping, because you can be like some badass fighter, but you can't take a punch, and then when you get into a fight, someone gets the better of you, they hit you one time, and you fucking fall down. It's just as important to know how to take a punch as it is to give one. So Arya learned all of this, and then comes back, and now she's being trained by Brienne. So she's going to be even better going into Season 8. I don't understand why people find that hard. And not to mention, it's a fucking TV show. Like, they can do whatever the fuck they want. If they wanted to next season, they wanted to somehow merge Daenerys and Drogon into one and make Daenerys some dragon woman who just has fucking wings and flies around breathing fire. They could. You know why? Because it's a fucking make-believe TV show. It's not real-life shit. But yeah, so let's see. That's Arya, Robb, Jon, Ned. What is that? That's 5. Wait, Arya, Jon, Robb, Ned. Oh, no, that's only 4. Damn, we got 3 more. Okay, shit. If we're taking future Arya, let's take future Gendry. Wait, nah, that wouldn't, no. I mean, no, we can't do that. We'll just do the one with future Arya. Some good ones. 3 more. Come on, man. Think. I mean, if we can just pick up bullshit ones, I would say, like, yeah, Khal Drogo and fucking Ramsay. You know what I mean? But we can't do that. Let's see. People close to Ned. Let's say the Maester at Arms, Roderick Cassell. That's 5. And then you have Rory, who's with Ned. He died when Ned got his leg pierced. But this is make-believe land. So, Rory and Roderick are added on to that, so we're at 6. So 1 more fucking person. If we're taking people from the past that are Starks, let's bring his brother Brandon. in from the past. God damn it. Oh, you know what? No, I take that back. Put back Brandon. Sorry, bro. You got to get choked out again. Let's bring back Hodor. Let's say, like, full-on Hodor being warged by Bran, right? So that's who you have. You have Jon, Robb, Benjen, Ned, future Arya, like present-day Season 8 Arya, Roderick Cassell, and then, whoa, fuck, who was Hodor being warged by Bran. No one would be able to stand up to Ned. Ned would have, like, the greatest trial by 7 ever. That would be, like, one of the best. Oh, man, it would be fucking awesome. What do you think? What do you guys think Ned Stark would say to his daughter if he could see her now? Like, if he could see what she's doing, what would he say to any one of his children? Like, come on. I mean, you can kind of fantasize, but you never really know. I guess. Oh man, whatever. That would be crazy. Okay, this is from John MZ. What's up, dude? I ain't seen you in a fucking minute. Where you been at, bro? You been in hiding, dude? You been in hiding? Been hiding away from Sir Hunts? Oh, it could have. I guess Serial Pharrell would have been a good one. I didn't even think about that. Jonathan Haymaker, what's up, man? It's a fucking TV show. Best answer to everything. Hell yeah, little gringa. Kylie Winchester, yes, you're still welcome here. She says, am I still welcome here as a non-Jon Snow fan, or have I been banished? Nah. No one gets banished. No one. Unless you say some dumb shit, then yeah, obviously you'll get dropped. You'll get the ban hammer like a motherfucker. But just stating your opinion, no, that's not true. Or that won't get you banned. I actually had a buddy over here yesterday, and we recorded like 15 minutes of a podcast, and he was talking about how he doesn't like Jon Snow. He basically was saying Jon Snow is boring because all his scenes are predictable. You know what's going to happen. And, you know, obviously I couldn't disagree with that any more than I possibly do. So I had to, you know, like, lay into him real quick. But it was almost like cheating because he doesn't know nowhere near the amount of knowledge that I have about Game of Thrones. Like, he was watching the show before I did, but he hasn't read the books. He hasn't watched every episode 5 times. You know what I mean? So he still forgets certain characters' names. But yeah, no, I had to explain it to him. What's up, Brand the Builder? I ain't seen you in one of these chats in a while neither. It's like the reemergence of all of the people who disappeared. Where the fuck you guys been at? You guys been in hiding. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe all the people who dropped off the face of the planet, like 25,000 of the people subbed to me. Maybe you guys are all coming back because you miss Game of Thrones too much, and you need GOT channels in your life. Yo, Jenna Marble's videos keep getting suggested to me, which is hilarious. I'm subscribed to all of her channels, like Jenna Julian Podcast and their gaming channel and Jenna Marble's main channel. And she just dropped a new video, and it's called Reacting to Compilation Videos of Me. I probably will be watching that after I get off of here. All right, so yeah, so bringing everything back down to the same center of focus. This White Walker theory was brought to my attention by reddit.com/freefolk. You can actually check that down below in the description if you want to. But basically, it stated that the Warlocks of Karth said their magic increased when the dragons were born. At about the same time, the Night King and his army seemed to start their move toward the wall. The Night King and his army are alive due to their magic. Perhaps the dragons must all die in order to weaken the Night King so he can be destroyed. Now, when we discussed the Warlocks, there's not too much mentioning of them having ice magic, but I will say that their magic being related to the dragons makes me think that they use fire magic. You know, they're in a shy, they can openly practice, doing their shit, and we do know that a lot of the people that come, that's not necessarily true. You would think they were, because that's where people think dragons originally came from. Shadow Binding doesn't use fire magic, but Melisandre is a fire priestess, so maybe it's a form of fire magic. Maybe there's 2 main types of magic in A Song of Ice and Fire, right? Fire magic, ice magic. Then there's all these different subcategories that fall under each of those. So for fire magic, you would have Shadow Binding. You would have let's look up some cool shit they do in a shy. The different types of magic you can practice in a shy. Esoteric knowledge. A shy holds a significant amount of arcane knowledge. Of any current location, it is most likely to have dragon lore. Ancient books of a shy also recorded the Azor High prophecy, followed by members of the lower faith. It is rumored that the spell singers, aeromancer, and warlocks practice their arts openly in Ahai. I mean, it kind of mentions, but yeah, okay, so we got these two main categories, fire magic and all of the shit that they practice in Ahai. You know, that would be with the wizards and aeromancers and spell singers. Maybe those all fall under that subcategory underneath fire magic. And then under ice magic, you have shit like what Bran does. That's entering the minds of another, skin changing, warging, necromancing, bringing back the dead, just controlling creatures in general. Those are all subcategories under ice magic. So if you have the two of those, but then you have people like, oh man, I lost my train of thought there. Whatever, let's hop back in the chat and answer some more questions. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. We've been live streaming for 30 minutes now. We won't go on too much longer. You know, slap a like on this video if you can before you dip out. Can we get some likes, people? There's a sale. Hell yeah. Slap the like button or I'll slap you face. I'll slap at your face. Send the Jon Snow haters to the wall. Make them walk the plank. MZ says, I've been watching the history and lore from the DVDs. Hell yeah, those are all up on YouTube too. Lots of people upload those. Plot armor is cumbersome, but apparently also super insulated against the cold and super buoyant to enable swimming. See Bronn also. I fucking love that. That was so well worded. You have Bronn and Jaime having that armor floats type shit, and then Jon Snow in the freezing cold. Somehow, after just like fighting for fucking and being up for like 24 hours. Okay, I guess they did fall asleep at some point, but who cares? They're freezing, you know. And he falls in this freezing cold water, and somehow he's able to pull himself back up out of that fucking water and then keep walking. I will say one of the most ridiculous theories I saw about Season 7 was the people saying that his sword's eyes opened. No, the fuck they didn't. There was the light reflecting off of the lake and the ice when he comes up out of the water. The way the camera pans down, it's like a little glimmer of light goes through the eyes, and people are like, "Oh, that's his eyes opening." They fucking no, dude, no. Like, and people kept commenting that shit in the comment section. I'm like, nah, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, I can't even respond to it. It would have been cool as shit, but nah, it's just a reflection of the light. I always forget the like button. Well, how about you remember it this time, sir? Oh shit, we just got a super chat from Jesselyn Mendoza, and she says, come to LA with your GF. Happy hour on me. I know all the spots. I have a guest room and hookups on hotel. GOT talking drinks. Keep up the videos. That sounds fucking amazing. I'm not a big drinker, but I've never been to West Coast, and you guys know how to, you know, party up there. Anytime I've ever met anyone from California, they've always been the most laid back and chill person. Whether they consume cannabis or not, but they're just, you know, it's just the California lifestyle. And I love how you guys are probably having like an 80-degree day, and over here we're approximately the same, like if you draw a straight line, North Carolina to California, we'd be like at the same proximity in like midline United States. Somehow y'all have all the best fucking weather because of that warm Pacific Ocean, but it's like 40 degrees outside. I'm actually about to go light a fire at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Justin said, damn, take her up on that. Hell yeah, that would be awesome. Once again, thank you for that super chat, Jesselyn. I think if I'm Sam, hope I pronounced your name right. B-Pal says, if this theory was true, then the Night King would have been strongest around the time of A Dance with Dragons. Not if he didn't have someone stealing his babies. You know what I mean? That would be like, God, Craster wasn't even giving him sacrifices. But that's the thing. There's like all of this back knowledge and shit of people thinking that, you know, the Night's Watch actually used to give the Night King sacrifices of bastard-born children. Here, let me pull up Queen Alysanne Targaryen. She actually, I know I didn't spell her name right, but she actually she renamed the Bastard Gate to the Queen's Gate, and there's a theory that the reason why she did that is because that used to be a secret passageway the Night King would, the Night's Watch would sneak out bastard children to go be sacrificed to the others. Let me see if I can find that. I know the theory's not here, but there's a mention of the Bastard Gate, the Queen's Gate. One such establishment's Queen's Crown changed its name following on his rank. Alysanne accompanied him, as did 6 dragons and half the royal court. Alysanne got bored and flew north, mounted on her dragon Silverwing. She stayed in several local villages while flying north. One of such establishments, Queen's Crown, changed its name following Alysanne's visit in her honor, and painted the merlons atop the holdfast golden to look like the golden crown she'd worn during her visit. At the wall, Alysanne suggested to the Night's Watch that the Night Fort, the oldest and largest castle at the wall, which was too costly to maintain, be replaced with a smaller castle nearby. She used her own jewels to finance the construction of that castle, which was named Deep Lake. There we go. The Night's Watch, although the Starks, she asked Lord Stark to give them more money, or not more money, more land, which was the new gift is what that was called. It was said that at that time the Starks were bitter about having been forced to part with the land. Mr. Yandel believes that this... Okay, so this is from World of Ice and Fire. The Night's Watch, on the other hand, was grateful. To thank Alysanne for financing Deep Lake and winning them the new gift, the Night's Watch, fucking A, why do I keep saying that? The Night's Watch renamed the Castle Gate, the Castle Snow Gate, dubbing it Queen's Gate in her honor. So, Snow Gate is the what I was talking about. People think that it's called that because the bastard surname in the north is Snow. Obviously, Jon fucking Snow. The reason why it's called Snow Gate is because that's the castle that the Night's Watch used to sneak sacrifices to this dude. I like this little portrait. It almost looks like Ramsay, but it kind of looks like the very kind of looks like a mix of Bran, and a lot of people think Bran looks like the Night King, so there's that. Alright, so let's check the chat. We're gonna be wrapping it up pretty shortly here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Bran and MZ said you guys missed the theory. I just ran down it real quick, but I'll do it real quick. And it's basically the Warlocks of Kar said that their magic increased when the dragons were born. About that same time, the Night King and his army seemed to start their move toward the wall. Night King and his army are alive due to the magic. Perhaps the dragons must all die in order to weaken the Night King so he can be destroyed. So basically they're saying, like, since the Warlocks of Karth, these guys right here, since their magic was said to increase by having in presence of the dragons, maybe the Night King's magic increased as well. Although the reason why the Warlocks, their magic increased is because if they're trained by Shai, I think their magic is basically a subcategory of fire magic. So if that's the case, that's why their shit increased. But also you have the duality of having to have fire with ice. So if fire gains all of this power all of a sudden, then ice has to as well, just to balance it out. So if you have both of them together, that's the only way they could coexist. Like, you can't have one without the other. So it's almost like there was whispers of White Walkers and the others, and then they officially made an appearance, and then 10 days later the dragons officially made an appearance. There were whispers that there were dragons still in Ahai, or there were whispers that there's a clutch of dragon eggs underneath Winterfell. The existence of dragons was still technically around because you had dragon eggs. So, and it's almost like the White Walkers, there was so few of them when we first saw them, like marching like that. They were almost like in hibernation form, sort of like dragons being in their dragon eggs. So now that you have the dragons coming back and being full grown, and it almost seemed like every significant battle that Daenerys won with her dragons, the bigger they got, the more you saw the White Walkers. The bigger the White Walkers group got, or the more power the Night King had, or the Night King officially unveils himself, If I'm not mistaken, Hardhome, around that time, Daenerys had one of her biggest wins with the dragons, which would be taking Meereen. All right, well, let's see if there's any quick questions that I can answer real quick. Quick questions that I can answer real quick. Will history with Bran repeat? For example, the story... Oh, Brienne repeat, sorry. For example, the story she told where her dad invited people over and two guys fought over as a joke. Will this be the case, but serious between Jaime and Tormund? Now, there's actually an interview that I like to, whenever someone asks me about that, I like to point to the interview they did during season with Jaime and Brienne. There was an interview. It was either right before the season started or like during episode 3. But basically, the interviewer asked Brienne if Jaime should have something to be worried about now that Tormund is in love with her, and Brienne said, honestly, I would say so, because Tormund is the kind of person who just loves her not for how she looks, but because of who she is and what she can do, which is basically she's a crazy warrior who can kill almost any man, and she's, tall and leggy. That's how he sees her. It's almost like just a very simple sort of way. He's attracted to her, and that's what it is. Whereas with Jaime, it's more of he would want her to be a lady. He would kind of maybe want her to change a little bit instead of loving her exactly for who she is, even though he fell in love with her for sort of the same reasons. When they're traveling with each other, they fight. He sees how well she can fight, and, that's honestly probably why he ends up being attracted to her. No, I know it's a little bit more complicated than that in the novels, but for the most part, it's similar. Take a sip of my Pepsi here. All right, any more questions? Oh shit, we got a super chat from NZ. He says, thank you for the second or third recap of the theory. No doubt, bro, no doubt. And it's actually linked down right below in the description. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. It's actually linked, it's like the third or second link in the description. Will take you straight to this post. It's from a user named Born West of the Mountains. Let's see what some of the comments say. This is from Death of Professor, and he said, except White Walkers have been active since the prologue 1x1. I think even before that, Mance was trying to unite them for 20 years because of the threat. No, Craster has been sacrificing his children for years before Dany and her dragons. Yes, George R. R. Martin got a lot of ideas from Lord of the Rings, but it's not a replica. That's funny. They always gotta add that in there. It's you can't just tell the person you don't like their theory. You also have to insult their intelligence. White Walker magic and dragon magic is completely opposite of each other. That's what I was saying, but they need each other to exist. You can't have one without the other. So the White Walkers were pushed back. No one had heard of them. Everyone thinks they're a rumor. Just like with dragons, you don't see any of them anymore. It's a rumor. You have their eggs. It's rumors of their eggs and shit. Whatever. Yeah, let's check their main page real quick and see if they have some delicious memes for us to eat up real fast. Let's go to top. On my phone, it's like the top 24 hours. This one's pretty funny. I saw this one earlier. It's a wolf pup and a dog howling. And it says, Sandor Clegane and Arya Stark receive word of Joffrey's wedding. That's a fucking good one. Oh, yeah. Let's see what's another one. Drogon. I'm afraid to click on too many because some of them might have some SXSW or whatever shit. And I don't want to get, I think you can kind of let the cursing go, but if you show nudity, nah, but I'm gonna get a strike on my channel. These two have the best chemistry in Game of Thrones. I'm waiting for the fucking letter to pop up, and then I realize no, it's just the pyromancers. That's funny. Meanwhile, on Reddit/Game of Thrones. What is this? Small detail I noticed about Jon and Tyrion. When Jon is walking up the stairs with Tyrion and his party, when he arrives at Dragonstone and Tyrion says Starks don't fare well south, and Jon replies, I'm not a Stark. As he says, one of the dragons, not sure which, swoops it past and roars. Oh man, that's a fucking good one. It's this is from a post from another Reddit group, and this person is saying a small detail. Yeah, that was the small fucking detail. Drogon flying over Jon right as Jon says, I'm not a Stark. That's a small little detail I noticed. Obviously, this guy right here is fucking trolling them. There's no way that he... And it's got 29 upvotes. Oh, man. Fucking A. Jesus. God. Reddit/freefolk. Fucking, they're savage over here. This person says, got ourselves a genius over here. Figured out that most obvious foreshadowing of the entire series. Oh, man. 28 people thought that was quality enough material upload. Hell yeah, that's the same thoughts that was going through my head. I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh, man. Let's see. We'll answer a few more quick questions. Tormund and Brienne and lots of big babies. Hell yeah. Did you hear about Sophie Turner's engagement? Hell yeah, she got engaged to the Jonas brother, dude. What was his name? I don't know which one it is, but yeah, no, I had heard of that. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, that was a little bit. Yeah, I'm happy for her. I mean, she's really young. They're both young. I hope it works out. White Walker has been gone thousands of years, but dragons just died out 150 years ago. I don't even think it's been that long. MZ says, Q&A, does Night King know this about the dragons? If so, wouldn't killing a dragon hurt him too? Yeah, you would think. But maybe since he's the one that killed the dragon and then brought it back, maybe he was weakened for a time, and maybe that's why he wasn't more hands-on in the battle, because he knew he was about to take out a dragon. But I don't know, maybe he doesn't know that. Maybe he doesn't realize that their magic is linked. So maybe once all of them die, like I've been saying this for a while, just didn't put it in this way, but I already knew that by the end of the series, there's no way the dragons could still be alive. And then if the dragons aren't alive, then the White Walkers obviously have to be dead as well. And then if that's the case, then there's no point in having Bran, so Bran will probably die as well. I think you need one without the other. Like, they both can't exist. Like, if you had the White Walkers completely gone, then you have dragons. It's like, you know, for the television show at least, I think it would just make sense to wipe them all out together. Sensu Bean. What was that in reference to? I know it's Dragon Ball Z, but did I need one? Or were you talking to someone else in the chat? Will Mira return? I actually saw... Here, let's pull up Winter is Coming. They actually just posted about this. There was an interview with Ellie Kendrick. She's the actress who plays Mira Reed. So again, this is winteriscoming.net. Ellie Kendrick still hasn't gotten word on whether she'll be returning. So it's kind of left up in the air. I don't really see a point for her. I thought she was going to have Dark Sister, but she didn't. And Bran kind of sent her away, and she was, like, crying about it. So I don't think she would, like, want to relive that hurt if she made it home. I guess what would make her return is if her father dies, and then part of Howland's dying wish was to take what little troops the Crone-Ogmen have and take them from Greywater Watch to go and fight with Jon Snow at Winterfell or North or wherever he's going to need them. And if that's the case, then, of course, she'd return. And then we'd have, like, this awesome front line of these, like, battle-hardened women. You know, you got Brienne, Arya, Mira. I mean, you could argue that Sansa's hardened, too. I would love to see Sansa in battle. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying all these other... I don't know how the fuck I forgot about Lyanna Mormont. But, you know, you have all these women that are awesome-ass warriors and love sword fighting. Why would you not want to pick up a sword? Like, would that not be badass if you just saw Sophie Turner swinging a sword and training with Brienne and Arya? What if Arya trained her? Like, Arya's getting trained by Brienne, but then Arya has a Padawan learner as well, and that's Sansa. That would be so dope. I would love to see Sansa swinging a sword. That would be cool. Any more questions before we dip out of here? Do you think it's too cliche for Dany to be killed in childbirth? I wouldn't necessarily call it too cliche, but honestly, for Game of Thrones, yeah, it would be, because not only did her mother die in childbirth, but Jon Snow's mother died in childbirth, Tyrion's mother died in childbirth. You know, we have all these different moms who died, so I could totally see there being some complications that arise from her having children. Maybe she has twins, and maybe that potentially, God, I don't even like talking about this, but if that killed her, that would be what I've said this for months now, that would be what would make Jon Snow go and mount Drogon, is the fact that Daenerys isn't there to ride Drogon. Drogon realizes that and wants to get revenge, or not necessarily revenge, but wants to finish what his mother started, and then him trusting, naturally who she left everything to, which you would assume it would be Jon Snow. It was all rightfully his anyway. She didn't realize that Rhaegar had another child named Aegon. Rhaegar had 2 kids named Aegon. What the fuck? Oh, man. Funny. Maybe he saw that Aegon was going to die, right? So maybe he saw that baby Aegon, who had his head dashed into the wall, a.k.a. Fagon in the books, who's still alive. That's what makes me think Jon Snow's real name isn't Aegon, because, like, George, come on, dude. But yeah, nah, what if that's why Rhaegar named his second, or his backup son, what if that's why he named him Aegon, because he knew that first one was going to die? That'd be pretty funny. See, I'm on the Queen's Gate page there. Got me thinking that I was going to talk about Alicent again, but I'm not. Let's see. We've been streaming for 50 minutes now. This is right at an hour. I'm going to be wrapping it up. I'm going to take one more question. Can Vara and Melisandre show up from Volantis with the Lord of Light fighters? I'd say she's going to show up with the Lord of Light priest and priestesses for sure. If not, to bring back more people from the dead. More so to spread the gospel of Dany across the realm of the Seven Kingdoms, or to maybe Melisandre didn't even go back there to recruit them. Maybe she went back there just to tell them that there's more than one candidate for the Azor High prophecy. Maybe she went there to tell them about Jon Snow, because Melisandre knows that Kinvara and all the red priests and priestesses in Volantis backed Daenerys when they should know that Jon Snow is just as suitable of a candidate, and R'hllor has actually chosen Jon Snow and brought him back from the dead. So maybe that's what Melisandre went to go do. Maybe she didn't even mean to go recruit them. She just wanted to tell them, hey, listen, Daenerys fits the prophecy, but Jon Snow fits it better. He's actually was chosen by R'hllor and has came back from the dead, And maybe they have some sort of way of looking into Melisandre's mind to see what she's seen, so they know she's not lying. I don't necessarily know if she went there to go recruit them. It would be badass if she did, but honestly, what are they going to do? They're not warriors. And you really only would need like 3 or 4 of them to bring back some of the people that they were able to get away from the battlefield. I don't even think they're ever going to be able to push back the dead, because there's so many of them. And then when he kills more of them, he can just raise them right back. So it's never going to be a case of the Night King and his troops retreating. It's always going to be a case of our side, the humans, falling back and retreating. So if they're somehow able to grab those dead people off the battlefield and then drag them away so that these red priestesses can revive them, there's really no point for the red priest and priestesses to come across the Narrow Sea and enter Westeros and go into the battle. Maybe after Daenerys is sitting the Iron Throne and they need to go preach her gospel. But as of right now, I think Melisandre just went over there to say, hey, look, it's not just Daenerys, it's also Jon Snow. And I think that's going to be the last question. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. I see 23 likes, but there are 44 people watching. Congrats to everyone who was in on the Noti Squadron. Anyone watching this later, let me know your comments down below about the theory of the Warlocks of Qarth and the Night King's magic being linked to the Dragon's magic. If you want to see that for yourself, links down below in the description. But once again, my name's Mark. I want to thank you all so much for watching. This has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.